So, yeah, welcome to the Gen XYZ podcast. We're going to be talking about Bill Maher's new book, which is, I think, is an excellent book. What this comedian said will shock you.
It needs to be written, and Bill Maher,
Real time
real
on
time with Bill Maher,
Yeah,
and great show. And this book is great because he really gives it to both sides of the political spectrum. And I think this is going to be an introduction because we have time. Matt and I both read the book, love the book, and we want to encourage all of you to read it as well. And I think y'all would enjoy it.
Yeah, I truly think it's a book that every single American should read. And we're in this political landscape now where there's this fallacy that we have two types of people in America, that we have conservatives and we have liberals. And this just isn't true. And this is something I think it's...
Oh, like you're saying, like to put people in two buckets.
Yeah, we generally put people in two buckets. And
two tribes.
Two tribes. Yeah, better
only
said,
two rights.
Only
two ways to do it.
And what Bill Maher is saying in this is he's saying we have liberals, and then we have conservatives, and then we have the woke. And the woke actually call themselves liberal, but they're not liberal. They're actually bigoted. Because what's the definition of liberalism, Micah?
Well, I like how Bill, in the very introduction of the book, says definition of a true liberal is one who is open-minded,
right,
and not closed off
right,
to other perspectives. And
exactly.
I think that's what, you see this rise in wokeness, and what they would profess like they're trying to do is, hey, we're trying to be open-minded about these things, but really it's like, if you don't ascribe and believe this woke agenda, then you're wrong.
Exactly.
Which is kind of the opposite.
It's exactly the opposite. And so liberalism is being open-minded, willing to discourse, willing to learn new things. Wokeism is the opposite. It's simply saying, if you don't believe the way I believe, not only am I going to tell you you're wrong, I'm going to fully repudiate you as a person. I'm going to firewall you off. I'm going to declare you a heretic. I'm going to say that you're bad.
Closing off, like literally
just closing off discussion, right? And there should always be in an honest, authentic conversation where two people are really trying to learn. That should never happen.
Well, learn and explore.
And explore, yeah.
Explore the topic,
yeah.
Because creative and critical thinking, requires thinking, right? I mean, go thinking through the process and not just ascribing to. Because I think that's one thing that we've learned through the art of doing this podcast is that we have an initial idea, like Bill Maher's book, and we have our own initial ideas and thoughts about it. But then after researching and after discussing it, often find there's a lot of points that we maybe didn't consider, and then talking to like Gavin, the youngest member, and then even looking at different generational approaches, everyone kind of has a unique perspective that I think is very valuable and helps you have a more well-rounded understanding of that certain topic.
Yeah, absolutely, and just to take different considerations in. But that's something I think is really important for us to start to realize is that to be a liberal, I'm a liberal. 20 years ago, my first bachelor's degree was actually in the humanities. So, I've, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I've taken a lot of women's studies courses, a lot of, I took classes about gender theory and, everything you can think of, like Latin American authors, just a full scope. And that's because that's what I was interested in at that time in my life.
What do you think is important to do in college?
Yeah.
Like, college should be a place that encourages that open, honest discussion, and a great place to explore a bunch of ideas.
I loved it, and it was great to have exposure to literature and world history and different views, different perspectives, and to explore those things. And so, at that time I called myself a liberal, and I still call myself a liberal, but I'm a Bill Maher liberal. I'm not, what people today who are actually woke, who call themselves liberal, they're not liberal because they're not open-minded. They are not open to anything but their views. And it's a troubling progression that we're seeing in the United States now, where we have fewer and fewer actual liberals. And this, I think it's dangerous.
So that's a great introduction to our perspectives from what this comedian said
Will shock you.
Will shock you. And I hope you guys enjoy.
So what we'll be doing, we're actually on a road trip right now going through Idaho, headed up to Missoula, Montana to see our really good friend Jen Riegel, who we used to ski with in Europe. And we don't really have anything better to do, other than to BS a little bit and make some podcast episodes. So we'll be going through this book episode by episode, smaller episodes, so a little more reasonable in terms of consumption. But hopefully you find it enjoyable as we walk through this book with you, and we hope that you might learn as much as we have reading it.
We're here to help, and actually, why don't you put a comment down there? Let us know what you thought about the book.
Yeah,
whether you read it or not.
Yeah, or if you just like my sunglasses. I mean, it's cool. You will notice here, I hate to throw this out there, but I do have this on. I'm a little bit handicapped right now. And this is from an injury I had 30 years ago and acted in the Army. So I'm just throwing it out there. I am a wounded warrior. So I'll say one thing. The VA is awesome. They took care of me. So
this is not sponsored by the VA.
It's not sponsored by VA, but
we do support the VA and all the work they do for veterans.
Yeah, but anyway, I should have worn like a QR code on my shirt, so when people say thank you for your service, it could have been like, well, go ahead and tip me, Anyhow, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's not right.